So, what questions should you ask an estate planning attorney when you're trying to decide who you're going to use to help you create your will or your trust? I would recommend your trust in Arizona. Um, hmm. Yeah, these are the questions I would ask. So, first, I'm just looking at my notes. Ask them how many estate plans they do per year. You want to know. And maybe they'll tell you, oh, I can't tell you that. That's proprietary information. Interesting. I mean, we will tell you how many we do per year. It's not that proprietary. I mean, it's good to know. How many do they do per year? And then on kind of related to that one, do you also do divorce and bankruptcy and criminal and PI and every other thing that comes in your front door? Or do you just focus on this area? I would also ask, what is their success rate? If they've been doing this for a long time, how many of the ones that they've done have those clients ended up in probate or ended up in litigation? Be good to know, what's their success rate? Do they have a good success rate? I would also ask, what is their guarantee to your family when you're gone? I mean, think about this. This is the lawyer. This is a thing you're getting to take care of your stuff when you can't. So what do they guarantee to your family? How do they guarantee that this is going to work when you need it to? Those are the questions I would ask. I would not ask these next questions. You should know what these questions are so that you have them in your mind as you're interviewing someone, because if they don't tell you that they already do these two things, just know they don't do these two things. And I think these are two critical things for you and your family. The first one is, what do they tell you about their process to make sure your trust is funded? If you're going to set up a living trust, you've got to tell the bank, your investments, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, Edward Jones, your financial advisor. You've got to tell your life insurance. You've got to re-register your real estate. You've got to do something on your vehicles. You've got to do something at every single one of those locations, every single one of those businesses that you do business with. You have to tell them you have a trust now. So as you're interviewing an attorney, what do they tell you about that? Do they have a process for it? Do they help you with it? Or do they not even mention it? We've hired employees from other law firms, and when we train them how we do things, they're like, I've signed thousands of trusts and I've never heard them say this before. So I know it's a problem out there. So just listen. If you ask them, do you do trust funding? They'll say, yeah, sure. What's your system? What's your process? And then the last thing, again, don't ask them, wait for them to tell you what they do. What systems do they have in place? What process do they have? How do they help you keep everything up to date as life goes on? It's the biggest problem in my industry. So if they don't help you keep it up to date, here's what they do. They will tuck in your documents a little fine print that says they have no responsibility for anything that happens in the future, that these things may or may not be valid because it's your responsibility to keep them up to date. That's what is going to be in there. And so wait and see what they describe their process is to keep this up to date for you as time goes on, as life goes on, as you move through the stages of life, because it needs to change. I mean, yes, an 18-year-old needs a certain set of documents. When you first get married or you first have kids, you need different stuff. When your kids go off to college, you're an empty nester. Things need to change. When you go to retire, things got to change. When you become elderly and start needing a little bit more help, things need to change. Or if you acquire more assets at any time through life, it's got to change. You change jobs, you move homes, it's got to change. Do they have a process to help you make sure it all stays up to date as life goes on? Those are the questions I would ask if I were interviewing an estate planning lawyer.